here's a list of ingredients that will be going into this okra soup today. I'm going from left to right. Of course, in the back I have my frozen cut okra and some of the seasonings that I will be using to season the meat as well as the soup will be thyme. I'm also using adobo, some black pepper, some sea salt, and in the back there I have my red palm oil. And in front of that I have what is called Ogili, as well as one scotch bonnet pepper. To the side of that I have my Ogbono, and next to that I have some smoked shrimp as well as some crayfish. And you can get these ingredients from a local Caribbean or African grocery market. In front of that I will be using 2 red onions, 2 small red onions, or if you want to use 1 large red onion. And the meat that I will be using for today's soup is fowl. I have 1 whole fowl. I also will be using 1 to 2 pieces of bass fish that I will cut up a little later. And in front of that I have my smoked turkey wings that will also go into this soup. And of course I also will be using 1 knorr chicken bouillon cube as well as 2 regular bouillon cubes, and I have 1 sachet of Sazon. And that's about it. Let's get started. So in my pot I've already started to cook the fowl on a medium-high heat. I added the fowl first because it's a very tough meat and it takes the longest to cook, and I added just enough water to cover the top of the meat. So on top of that I'm just going to go ahead and add some of the red onions, or all of the red onions that I cut up. And so here are the red onions, and I'm just going to add that to the top of my meat. Just gonna stir it in there just a little bit. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and season the meat with some of the seasonings I showed you earlier. So first I'm going to add just a little bit of sea salt. Here's the sea salt going in. And I'll put a more specific measurement of how much I'm using in the description box below. But I'm just seasoning it to taste, and it's your preference of how much or how little you want to add. So that was the sea salt, and next I will be adding some adobo. So here's my adobo, and I'm adding it to taste. And then I will be adding some of the thyme. Here's some thyme, just a little bit over the top. So I've added my black pepper finally, and I'm just going to kind of give this just a little bit of a stir. And I'm going to continue to let this cook before I add the smoked turkey wings. So as I continue to cook the fowl, I went ahead and cut up my fish, 2 pieces of the bass fish as well as the smoked turkey wings. And I also went ahead and washed some of the other ingredients that I will blend in a second. But first I'm going to go ahead and add the smoked turkey wings that I cut up. I'm just going to go ahead and add it now. And the fowl has been cooking for about, I would say, 15 minutes. So now I'm just adding the smoked turkey wings. And to the turkey wings, I'm going to go ahead and add those 2 bouillon cubes that I showed you earlier. And now I'm going to add about 2 soup spoons of the red palm oil. So here's one going in, and I'm going to add the second one. And here's the second soup spoon going in. And I'm just going to stir that just a little, and I'm going to let this cook for a little bit more while I go ahead and blend the other ingredients. So now I have the ingredients that I want to blend. I have the smoked shrimp as well as the crayfish, the Ogbono, and the scotch bonnet pepper and Ogili. And I'm going to go ahead and just add it all to the blender. The scotch bonnet pepper going in, as well as the Ogili, which I have washed. And I'm going to go ahead and add the Ogbono that I have soaking here in some water. I've already washed it. I'm just going to add it in as well. Aside, and now I'm going to add the crayfish as well as the smoked shrimp. Just kind of squeeze out some of the water. I'm just going to add it right on top. And to the blender, I've just added just enough water to literally equal the surface of the ingredients, and I'm going to go ahead and blend it now. Okay, so I have blended the remainder of the ingredients, and I'm just going to set it aside and add it to the soup in a little bit. So the meat has been cooking for an additional 10 minutes, and now I'm going to go ahead and add the ingredients that I blended. And to that, I'm also going to add the Knorr chicken bouillon cube. So I'm just going to give this a stir, and I'll let it cook for about 10 more minutes. So as the soup cooks, I went ahead and added some water to a medium heat, and this is the water that I'm going to use to prepare my oatmeal and plantain fufu. And I've added about maybe 1 to 1.5 cups of water, and I'm just going to let that boil. So once again, I'm going to be using oatmeal and plantain fufu to prepare this dish with. Once again, you can use any type of mix you like. They also have gari, they have cassava, farina, but I'm going to just be using a mix of the oatmeal and the plantain fufu. And I have about 1 to 1.5 cups of oatmeal that I'm just going to go ahead and blend in the blender. So I'm going to add that to the blender now. So I've added the oatmeal to the blender with just about enough water to cover the surface of the oatmeal, and I'm just going to go ahead and blend that now. I have my oatmeal blended to the consistency that I wanted, so I'm just going to set that aside, and I'll be adding it to the water as soon as it starts to boil. So now my water has begun to boil, and I'm just going to go ahead and add in that oatmeal that I blended, and I'm going to make sure that I constantly stir. to go ahead and start stirring the oatmeal in. And I'll just continue to stir it until I get the desired consistency that I want before I add the plantain fufu. So I continue to stir the oatmeal until it developed a nice thick consistency that I was looking for. And now I'm going to go ahead and add the plantain fufu mix. And once again, this is on a high heat, the plantain fufu mix. And I'm just going to start adding it in. And once again, I'm just going to continue to mix until I get the desired consistency that I am looking for. So I continue to add more of the plantain flour until I was able to get the desired consistency, the consistency that most of you recognize fufu as. So this is pretty much it. So now I'm going to just add just a little bit more water to kind of let it cook a little bit more, and I will pound it out again. So as you can see, the water that I added is boiling. I'm just pounding the fufu to the desired consistency that I'm looking for. So it's been about 10 more minutes, and now I'm going to go ahead and add my fish to the soup. And afterwards, I'm going to add the okra. So I added about half the bag of frozen okra on top, and I'm just going to let this cook for a few minutes more, and the soup should be ready. So it's been about 2 minutes, and I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I mix the stew to prevent it from burning on the bottom, as well as mix in all of that okra. At this point, the Sazon is optional. You can go ahead and add it. I added a little bit on top. So I continue to cook the soup until the fish is done, and how you can tell is either you can put a knife through the fish or it'll kind of start to break up. So this soup is ready. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My okra soup and oatmeal fufu is done. It's complete. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy this recipe. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, and come back for more. Take care.